Do you ever feel like you're doing all the right things when it comes to your health? So you're eating your vegetables, you're drinking your water, you're trying to move your body, but you're still not seeing the results that you want. Or maybe you're struggling with low energy, brain fog, or that sneaky weight gain that seems to creep up on us overnight in midlife. Well, what if I told you that there's one simple habit of the 8 basic habits that could make all the difference for you? A habit that far too many women completely overlook and dismiss, but that could be the key to unlocking your best health and vitality in your 40s, 50s, and beyond. In today's episode, we are diving deep into the power of protein. That's right, protein. Why it's so essential for women in this stage of life, how much you really need, and the surprising ways it can transform your health from the inside out. I'm debunking some common myths about protein, sharing some real life success stories, and I'm going to give you practical, actionable tips for incorporating more protein into your day, even if you're short on time or cooking isn't your thing. The strategies and insights I'm sharing today have been game changers for me and many, many, many of my other clients. And I know that they can make a profound difference for you as well. If you're ready to feel stronger, more energized, and more in control of your health than you have been in years, keep listening because your best self is waiting on the other side of this episode. Welcome to Total Health in Midlife, the podcast for women embracing the pivotal transformation from the daily grind to the dawn of a new chapter. I'm Elizabeth, your host and fellow traveler on this journey. As a life and health coach, I am intimately familiar with the changes and challenges we face during this stage. Shifting careers, changing relationships, our new bodies, and redefined goals and needs as we start to look to the future and ask, what do I want? In this podcast, we'll explore physical, mental, and emotional wellness, offering insights and strategies to achieve optimal health through these transformative years. Yes, it's totally possible. Join me in this amazing journey of body, mind, and spirit, where we're not just improving our health, but transforming our entire lives. Hey everyone, welcome to the Total Health in Midlife podcast. I am your host, Elizabeth Sherman, and I want to start out by expressing my heartfelt gratitude for you tuning in today. Your support means just so much to me. And I absolutely love receiving messages from you and others on social media, asking me questions, telling me feedback about what you like about the episodes, what really resonated. It's your feedback that really helps me to create content that's tailored specifically for you and your unique needs. In the last, several episodes or so, I've been diving into the 8 basic habits guide and checklist. And I love these 8 basic habits because they really lay the foundation for the basics of health. At this point, we've already explored the importance of drinking your water in episode 177. And we also talked about why you might not be eating enough vegetables and how to fix it in episode 182. And so today, we are moving into the third habit, which is eating protein with every meal. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Elizabeth, I'm in my 50s. Why do I need to eat protein and why is this important? Trust me, I get it. But here's the thing. As we get older, our bodies undergo some pretty significant changes. You already know that. And one of the most crucial things that we can do to maintain our health and vitality is to ensure that we're getting enough protein. You see, protein isn't just about building muscle, although that's certainly important, and we're going to talk all about that later. It's also essential for maintaining healthy bones, skin, hair, right? And supporting our immune system, and even keeping our brain function sharp. Protein is a powerhouse nutrient that plays a vital role in nearly every single aspect of our health. When it comes to maintaining our health and independence as we age, protein plays a starring role. It's not just about building, sexy muscles, although that's a nice bonus. but protein is essential for preserving our muscle mass, which is crucial for staying active, being able to move, and being self-sufficient and independent in our later years. So think about it this way. Our muscles are like the scaffolding that holds up our bodies. They support our bones, allow us to move freely, and help even regulate our metabolism. But here's the thing. As we age, our bodies naturally start to lose muscle mass. It's a process called sarcopenia, and it can begin as early as in our 30s. Now, I know that might sound alarming, right? But don't worry, there's good news. We can slow down and even reverse this muscle loss by making sure we're getting enough protein in our diets. In fact, studies have shown that older adults who consume higher amounts of protein are better able to maintain their muscle mass and strength over time. But not all protein sources are created equal. When it comes to supporting our muscles, animal-based proteins like meat, fish, eggs, and dairy tend to be more efficient than plant-based sources. That's because animal proteins contain all the essential amino acids that our bodies need to build and repair muscle tissue. That's not to say that plant-based proteins like beans, lentils, and tofu aren't valuable. They absolutely are. But if you're relying on those sources, you may need to be a bit more mindful about combining them to ensure that you're getting all the necessary amino acids. And we're going to dive deeper into this concept of protein quality later in the episode. I mentioned earlier that we're going to be talking more about the relationship between protein and exercise. And in episode 190, which isn't out yet, we are going to address the fourth habit called move daily. And that's because these two habits truly do go hand in hand. Exercise, particularly strength training, helps stimulate muscle growth and maintenance, while protein provides the building blocks our bodies need to make that growth happen. So if you want to give your muscles the best possible support system, think about protein and exercise as the ultimate power couple. Together, they are going to help you to stay strong, healthy, and independent well into your older age. Now let's talk about some of the common misconceptions around protein intake, particularly when it comes to women and our dietary choices. First is the idea that a vegetarian diet is somehow more, feminine, right? And I've heard this notion thrown around a lot over the years, and I have to say, it really kind of bothers me because food has no gender. The truth is, there's nothing inherently masculine or feminine about any particular way of eating. What matters is that we are nourishing our bodies with the nutrients that our bodies need to thrive. And so that includes a good mix of protein, regardless of whether it comes from animal or plant-based sources. That being said, I do want to address some of the limitations of relying solely on foods like nuts, nut butters, cheese, and beans for protein. Now, don't get me wrong. These foods can absolutely be a part of a healthy diet, but when it comes to meeting our protein needs, they may not always be the most efficient choice. Let's take a closer look at the numbers. To get just 20 grams of protein from cooked chicken breast, you're looking at around 106 calories. But to get that same 20 grams from cooked beans and rice, you're talking more about over 650 calories. That's a pretty significant difference, especially if you're trying to watch your overall calorie intake. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, but Elizabeth, I've heard that soy-based products like tofu and tempeh are really great for vegetarian protein sources. And you know what? You are absolutely right. They can be. But it's important to be mindful of how much processed soy we're actually consuming, particularly as women at this age. Some studies have suggested a potential link between high intakes of processed soy and an increased risk of breast cancer, particularly in postmenopausal women. Now, I want to be clear. This doesn't mean that you need to avoid soy altogether. Whole, unprocessed soy foods like edamame and miso can still be a part of your healthy diet. But if you're relying heavily on processed soy products as your main protein source, it might be worth reconsidering. So, what are the takeaways here? Essentially, it's all about balance and variety. Yes, plant-based proteins can absolutely be a part of a healthy diet, but they shouldn't be your only source. Incorporating a range of high-quality protein sources, both animal and plant-based, is key to ensuring that you're getting all the essential amino acids your body needs to thrive. And remember that there's absolutely not a one-size-fits-all approach when it comes to nutrition. What works for your sister or your mother or even your best friend may not work for you. And the key is to listen to your body, pay attention to how different foods make you feel, and work with a trusted healthcare professional to create a plan that works for your unique needs and whatever goals that you have. Let me share a few stories with you about the significance protein has made in both my life as well as my clients. When I was in my 20s, I decided to go vegetarian. At the time, I was already overweight, and I had just started a new job that required me to travel 100% of my time. This was back in the 1990s when health options at restaurants and airports were honestly pretty limited. And I'd heard that people often gained weight when they traveled for work. And I really did not want that to happen. So in my mind, going vegetarian seemed like a great idea. I knew that I should be eating more vegetables, and I thought cutting out meat would help me to make better choices. But looking back, I realized how misguided I was. I remember going to Chili's and ordering a bloomin' onion. You know, those giant deep fried onion appetizers. I mean, it's vegetarian, right? Yeah, I would eat the entire thing by myself. Needless to say, my vegetarian diet wasn't exactly balanced. What I didn't realize at the time was that by cutting out meat, I was also cutting out a major source of protein. And over time, I started to notice some changes in my body. I was losing weight, but I was also losing a ton of muscle mass. I felt weaker and less energetic, and my skin and hair just didn't look good. It wasn't until years later when I made the connection between my protein intake and my overall health. So that's one thing that I really regret. But I also want to tell you about my client, Michelle. When we first started working together, Michelle hardly ever ate breakfast. She told me that whenever she did eat in the morning, usually something like cereal, she found herself eating more throughout the day. We worked on incorporating more protein into her breakfast. Well, one day, Michelle was traveling for work and found herself in the hotel's continental breakfast buffet. She opted, for all practical purposes, seemed like a healthy choice. She had oatmeal, yogurt, and juice. But then at 3 p.m., she was in her company break room and she was eating pretzels and just confused. She was like, this isn't me. This kind of snacking was totally out of character for her. Later, Michelle and I connected the dots. Even though her breakfast seemed healthy, it was lacking in protein. And without that protein to keep her feeling full and satisfied, she was more likely to seek out snacks later in the day. These two stories illustrate just how important protein is for our overall health and well-being. It's not just about building muscle. It's about keeping us feeling full, satisfied, and in control of our appetites. And when we make protein a priority, amazing things can truly happen. All right, now that we've covered the why behind eating protein with each meal, let's talk about the how. I know that making dietary changes can feel really overwhelming, but I promise you, incorporating more protein into your day doesn't have to be a massive undertaking. So first, let's address some of the common struggles that come along with protein-rich foods. Things like meat, fish, and dairy tend to spoil more quickly than other foods, and they usually need to be kept refrigerated. While they do freeze well, there are some safety concerns around refreezing meat. And of course, many of us worry about hormones or other additives in our animal-based protein sources. The key here, again, is to find balance. You don't need to go overboard with your protein intake, but rather focus on eating just enough at each meal. So, You might be wondering, how do I do that? Well, here are a few strategies. First, plan ahead. And I cannot stress this enough. Meal planning is your best friend when it comes to ensuring that you're getting enough nutrients in your diet, especially protein. So take a few minutes at the start of each week and map out your meals and make a grocery list based on those. Then I'm going to suggest that you cook in batches. Now, if you're someone who struggles with time during the week, batch cooking can be a lifesaver. Prepare larger portions of protein-rich foods like chicken, turkey, or tofu, and store them in individual containers in the fridge or the freezer. That way, you always have a quick protein option on hand to add to your meals. Next, make protein the star of every plate. Start your day with a protein-packed breakfast. Think eggs, Greek yogurt, or a scoop of protein powder in your favorite smoothie. For lunch and dinner, build your meals around a source of protein, whether it's grilled chicken, fish, or anything else. And don't forget your snacks. A hard-boiled egg, a handful of nuts, or a piece of jerky can really give you a quick protein boost between meals. Next, keep some convenient options on hand. While fresh protein sources are great, don't underestimate the value of shelf-stable options like canned tuna, protein bars, or even a bag of roasted edamame. These can be lifesavers on busy days when you don't have a lot of time to cook. And then finally, mix it up. Eating the same foods day in and day out can get boring for many people. Not for me, but for many. So aim for a variety in your protein choices. Try a new type of fish, experiment with different cuts of meat, or try new plant-based options like tempeh or seitan. The more diverse your protein intake, the more likely you are to stick with it long term. And then be mindful of portions. Remember, the goal isn't to eat a massive amount of protein at every meal. It's just to get enough. So aim for about 20 to 30 grams per meal, depending on your individual needs and goals. Incorporating protein doesn't have to mean overhauling your entire way of eating. And with a little bit of planning and some simple swaps, you can easily make protein a regular part of your day. So we've talked a lot about the importance of protein for maintaining our muscle mass and overall health as we age. But there's another piece of the puzzle that I don't want us to overlook, and that is strength training. You see, while protein provides the building blocks our bodies need to maintain muscle, strength training is what actually stimulates that muscle growth. And when we challenge our muscles with resistance exercises like lifting weights, doing body weight movements, or using resistant bands, we create tiny tears in the muscle fibers. And when we rest and refuel with protein, our bodies repair those tears, making the muscles stronger and more resilient in the process. It's like a game of tag team. Protein and strength training work together to keep us strong, healthy, and independent as we age. And the research backs this up. Studies have consistently shown that older adults who engage in regular strength training and consume adequate amounts of protein are better able to maintain their muscle mass, bone density, and overall physical function. But here's the thing. You don't have to be a bodybuilder or a power lifter to reap these benefits. Even simple body weight exercises like squats, push-ups, and lunges can be so incredibly effective for maintaining and building muscle. The key is to challenge yourself consistently and progressively, and to make sure that you're fueling your body with enough protein to support that muscle growth. So if you're not already incorporating some form of strength training into your routine, I highly encourage you to start. And if you are, fantastic. Keep up the great work. I'm so proud of you. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today. We've talked about the crucial role that protein plays in maintaining our health and independence as we age, the importance of incorporating protein into every meal, and some practical strategies for doing just that. We've also touched on the powerful combination of protein and strength training for supporting our muscles and overall well-being. So I hope this episode has given you some valuable insights and inspiration to start prioritizing protein in your own life. And remember, you don't have to do it alone. So if you're looking for more support, guidance, and community around this habit or the other habits, I want to invite you to join my free Facebook group, The 8 Basic Habits That Healthy Women in Midlife Do. It's a fantastic place to connect with like-minded women, share your experiences, and get some extra motivation and accountability. And if you're ready to take things to the next level and create a personalized plan for improving your health, I would love to chat with you one-on-one. Go to elizabethsherman.com/call to schedule an I know what to do, I'm just not doing it strategy call. And we'll explore your unique challenges and goals and come up with a step-by-step plan to help you feel your best, because life is too short not to feel amazing. So thank you so much for tuning in today. Your health and happiness are incredibly important to me, and I am honored to be part of your community. So don't forget to join me next week for our next episode, and then in a few more weeks, if you're following along with the 8 Basic Habits, where we'll be diving into the 4th habit of the 8 Basic Habits Guide and Checklist, Move Daily. Until then, have an amazing week, everyone, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you for tuning in today. Now, if you enjoy the podcast and are ready to take the next step in addressing your health concerns, I would love to invite you to schedule an I know what to do, I'm just not doing it strategy call. In this 60-minute session, we will explore what's holding you back and create a personalized action plan. You will gain clarity, support, and practical steps to move you forward. Visit elizabethsherman.com/call to book your call now. You can transform your health, and I would love to be there to help.